Hi friends, welcome back to Farm Girl Diaries. My name is Caitlin and I have a problem. um, so my problem is I don't know how to sit down and rest. Um, it's a serious problem and I need serious help. Yesterday we were together and we bought a whole bunch of plants and I spent all evening getting them planted. It was a very long day just driving up an hour and a half to this nursery and then driving the whole way back home, and it was like 4 hours of shopping and then um, coming home and planting. I was exhausted. 8 o'clock hit and I was ready for bed. I managed to make it until 8:45 before I trucked my butt up to bed. But I was exhausted. So last night and then all day today, it's been raining, so everything is soaking wet. So I've spent this whole day so far. I've mopped the entire downstairs floor. By the way, I think mopping your floor actually makes it look dirtier. My kitchen was not drying and I needed to get to the sink or to the fridge or get somewhere. So I walked my little tippy toes and you can see all of my tippy toes in the floor. So we might be mopping again. But I mopped the whole floor. I cleaned the whole upstairs. I put clothes away. I've done laundry. I've read for a while. I crocheted. I was crocheting. I brought out my crochet project to show you my crochet project. So on a rainy day like today, I'm like, I'll just keep crocheting. So I'm making another um, star blanket for my mom. And I think this one, the colors are turning out great. However, it is a Sunday. I get my yarn from Hobby Lobby, and this is how much yarn I have left. So the crocheting even had to come to an end. So I found myself very bored. It's not quite dinner time. It's only about 4:20 right now. So it's not quite dinner time. And while I don't want to plant anything right now, we are going to plant stuff. I'm bored and I don't know how to not do something. I'm tired of reading. I read for a while. I'm reading a really good book, but I'm so tired from such a busy weekend that if I read, I fall asleep right now. So I'm not trying to read and take a nap because then I won't sleep the night. So it's quite a pickle that I have myself in. So I drug myself out. Actually drug myself and my dog out into the wet earth. Sawyer decided she wanted none of this, so she is back in the house. But we, together, you are stuck with me, are gonna go plant. I really hate that I don't know how to relax. I really hate that I don't know how to relax. I did it. I read already today. I crocheted already today. That was probably like an hour and a half of solid relaxation. I watched 20 minutes of Jessica's from Reach and Refuge, her garden tour. I had to break that up because I can't sit still for very long. That's probably a solid hour and a half of relaxation. I'm done. So we are going to plant. So I am excited about what I'm planting. I wish I was waiting to do it on a day that I was more excited about it, but because I'm a psychopath, we're just gonna ignore that fact. So last summer, I decided I wanted to start a flower farm. So I have an area which we're gonna go down to now, which I call my flower farm. And the idea of my flower farm is I do not like to cut my flowers. Um, I love flowers inside the house, 1,000%. But I don't like to cut them. I don't like to cut my flowers. So I have big dreams. One day I'm going to have a big farm with all of the space to plant all of the things. So then I can cut the things and bring them in the house and it'll be great and happy, and then I can sell things and it's going to be wonderful. Where I am right now, I have just over a quarter of an acre, and at this point in time, and I am getting better, but so I think I need to reevaluate this statement. But at this point in time, I've maxed myself out with how much I can do on the scale that I do it. And like I said, I think I need to reevaluate that statement. I've put systems into place that I think have made my life easier, and I think I could actually add more to my plate. Especially because right now, look, I have nothing to do today. So I definitely think I can add some more stuff to my plate. But that's something for a later consideration. But so I up until this point, I don't want to expand really because I can barely keep up with what I have. And especially when July hits, there's a saying that you got to think of the July gardener in March and April. So it's beginning of May and everything is waking up and everything is gorgeous and I'm throwing everything into the ground. But come July, Caitlin, is going to hate gardening. July and August are just so hot that it makes gardening just absolutely miserable. So there's a saying that when you're planting your spring garden, keep the July, August gardener in mind. Um, so that's another reason I'm kind of like, do I really want to expand? Do I really want to add more to my plate? Yada yada. So with all of that said, I decided to start a separate flower farm. And the idea with the flower farm is it's not going to require any extra time. I'm going to plant it in the spring. I'm going to empty it out in the fall. It's not going to require any extra labor in the hot summer months. And then I could have flowers to put in my house, to be able to cut and put in my house, but then also flowers to sell, hence why I call it the flower farm. Um, so there are different areas of my property that have different names. Like I have a windmill garden. It's a circular raised bed that has a windmill in it. I have a flower farm. In my main garden, I have a swatch of land that I call the field or the pasture. It's not a field or a pasture, but that's what I call it. So I call this area the flower farm, and it's so I can ideally grow flowers and cut them and sell them. So the first challenge is getting me to cut the flowers. The second challenge is getting me to sell the flowers. So last year I put out 3 bouquets of flowers, and my neighbor bought one. That's it. But this year I really need to this week, and maybe I should have done that today. That was actually on my list to do today. I have tomatoes that I want to sell, and I need to up pot them in individual pots and label them, and then kind of get a table out there to sell them. I forgot that was what I was supposed to do today because I could have up potted those tomatoes here in the garage. Forgot about that. Maybe that'll be in this. That needs to be a this week project. So I think because I didn't have like a great stand to like sell stuff at, that people just kind of like overlooked my flowers. So I need to work on that. But today I want to get at least one of the beds in the flower farm planted. They're calling, so it rained like 1.5 to 2 inches yesterday and today. They're calling for rain tomorrow and Tuesday. Today's Sunday, so Monday and Tuesday. So now is a great time to get stuff planted because it's going to get watered in. So that's why we're going to do it, even though we don't want to. So I want to talk before we go out there. It's not currently raining. I come out to the garage a little bit earlier and it wasn't raining, and then the skies opened. There wasn't a warning. There wasn't even like a sign that the skies were going to open. And there were a couple people that had like taken a break in the rain to go for a walk, and they got drenched. It wasn't like a steady like strip. It was just like nothing to pour in. So hopefully that doesn't happen to us. So let me go over what we're going to plant. And as of right now, I think a large chunk of this is going to go in one raised bed, but we'll see. So I have 2 Lisianthus. I tried to start these from seed this year and was not successful. So I bought 2 from one nursery that I went to. I've never been on the lookout for Lisianthus, but I've also never seen it. So maybe one of those things where I've just never looked for it. These are yellow, and I'm really hoping that in the coming weeks when I drop by more nurseries, because I still need a few things, I'm going to see if I can't find different colors of Lisianthus to plant, because I think that would be, they're gorgeous flowers, and so I think that would be nice to have a couple different colors. One thing I also bought that I'm really excited for is Gomphrena. Gomphrena puts off these really pretty purple balls, and really pretty balls. The kind I got is purple, and you can see they're getting ready to set off their little flowers. So these, I have 6 of them. I'm gonna plant all 6. I'm really excited for them. And the Gomphrena can be used in fresh flower arrangements and as a dried arrangement. So that takes me to my dried arrangement category. I started for the first time successfully. I started straw flowers. So I don't know if I say what color these are. Okay, this is a cranberry straw flower, and this one is a rose straw flower. So there's definitely a lot of ones in here. I'm gonna plant them all, is my hope. Just kind of, and maybe not today, but if I'm gonna get what I can get in my flower farm beds, and then I might just like sprinkle them around the farm, around the homestead. It's not a farm yet. That was a Freudian slip if there ever was one. um, so these, what I'm really excited about is they're gonna be pretty, just gorgeous. But I'm really excited to like get these and dry them. Last year I got my inspiration from Jill at Western Willow Farms. She grew a whole bunch of these and she dried them all throughout her house to use as like wreath making and arrangements over winter when fresh flowers weren't coming in. And she just like put, and here's what I kind of want to do. So we'll see if I do this, see if I get this many. She like just hung up like clothesline like in her house, like along the walls, and just like tied bouquets of flowers to her clothesline that was just like laying along the wall. And it honestly looked just so whimsical and cottagey and gave me all the feels. So that's like my goal. I don't have a wall to hang it up on. So we'll see how that goes. But I really want to grow straw flowers for the hanging and for like she did winter flowers. I'm not into making wreaths, so I'm not gonna make any of those. But like I think it might be fun to have like them out throughout the seasons when my when my fresh flowers aren't coming in. And then I have a couple of poppies. So this is not a good poppy. Oh, this is my poppy. This is a red poppy, and it is not doing well. It's not doing well. So I need to get him in the ground. He definitely is not liking life. And then I have a couple of others. I actually have one on the front porch still. I don't know where I'm gonna put him. We might grab him later. I have another poppy on the front porch, a beautiful. I think that poppy is a teeny poppy. So that's, I only have one. I started a whole bunch of seeds, only got one. So I'm excited to see what that does. So I'm gonna put that in like a fun place where it's gonna be adored. So this is the Fallen in Love poppy. I'll put a picture in here. Gorgeous, gorgeous poppy. I've had these years before. Love them. Fantastic. So I have a whole bunch of these. I'm going to plant these all down in those beds. And then, so the other poppy was just a generic red poppy, a great poppy. And then this one I got from my girlfriend. She started a whole bunch of seeds and gave me some of her poppies. So I don't know what these look like. She said they're gorgeous. It's a poppy. How could it not be? So I'm going to plant these as well. One thing that I didn't know, and I'm on top of it now, but I would not do again, is a California orange poppy. You can buy those seeds very cheap. They germinate super easily. A California orange poppy is a weed in California. I now know why. I started those. I planted a couple out probably about 4 years ago, and they have spread like crazy. Last year, they spread so much they actually choked out a ton of my plants. So this year, I'm on top of it. I'm not letting them get the upper hand. So if you plant California orange poppies, just keep that in mind. They are a weed. You'd be like, how can they be a weed? They're so pretty. They are a weed. And at this point, I'm just yanking them and throwing them. Like, get out of here. And then the last thing that I'm going to plant is I'm going to plant my snaps. I had snaps that overwintered, and come spring, for reasons I have no idea, they died. So I bought these. I have Snapdragon seeds, but at this point they wouldn't be blooming until like July. So I was like, you know what? Let's just get ahead of it. So this is the start of a solid flower farm. Now I also have my sunflowers started. I started sunflowers because last year all of the seeds I put in the ground did terrible. They did literally terrible. I think last year was just a really weird year. I kind of want to blame it on the sun. I feel like the sun wasn't as strong last year. I don't know how you blame it on the sun, but I had like none of my things grew like they were supposed to in different areas of the garden. And then I talked to other people who also were experiencing kind of the same thing. Like they just like things just didn't grow like they typically do. So one of the things that did not work for me, which always works for me, is I put seeds in the ground, and seeds that I planted directly in the ground, I planted hundreds, didn't do anything. Literally didn't do anything. For like 5 months. So I put all my seeds in the ground like right around now. I had sunflowers poking up that I planted in like May. They started growing in September. I had a Cosmo that I planted in May. It didn't start growing until August. And I watered. I did all the things I normally do. So last year my sunflower I had sunflowers in the raised bed garden because I think I started them from seed too. Well, I think I started them inside and transplanted them, I think. But the seeds, normally in my main garden, I cover it with sunflowers and I put my seeds everywhere and none of them grow. So this year I started at least my first round of sunflowers. I started inside. They're ready to go out. They're in the process of being hardened off. And when I take you down, I'll show you two of the long beds in the flower farm I used for tulips. And I grew tulips, and then I actually had one that I put ranunculus bulbs in. And I don't cover my beds because I don't really know how they get water when I cover them. So I didn't cover my ranunculus bed, and so none of them did anything. So that was a bust. But the tulips did great things. I'll put a picture in here, or a couple pictures. They did beautiful, beautiful things. And so they've died back, and I'm giving them a week. They've been died back for probably about 2 weeks. But I'm giving them another week because if you didn't know, once a flower is done blooming, we all have the habit, okay, now it's done, like let's go cut the leaves back until we can replant it. But you need to let the plant soak up more sun. It really continues. I guess the word is photosynthesize. I don't know if that's actually the right term or not. In this instance, I know they need photosynthesis to actually like grow. But after a tulip or a daffodil or a hyacinth or any of your perennials, after they're done blooming, you have to let them like just chill. And their leaves are continuing to store more energy, and that's the energy that is used to then get your bulb to overwinter and then grow next year. So my tulips are really starting to die back, which is a good sign that they're ready to be cut. But there's still a little bit of green on them, so I'm just going to give them another week, and then next weekend my hope is to get those long beds planted out with the sunflowers. So that is my plan. So let's gather all this up. I should have gloves. I don't know where my gloves are. I don't like wearing gloves when I garden. So that's okay. But let's gather everything and let's go plant. Okay, so you can see here are the tulip beds. They're almost done. There are some weeds. This rain has really made the weeds pop. This is the bed that I think we're going to use today, so I got to get it cleared out. And then this is the other tulip bed that needs to be cleaned out and prepped. And then this one we might spill into today. I'm not really sure. But when I was walking in, I just mowed a week ago, or not even a week ago, but welcome to spring. There's a little sunny volunteer. So that's a little sunflower. So we gotta be careful that I don't get him with the weed eater. And then you can see here are all of my snaps. And you come in here, like this part was alive after winter. These parts were all green. There was so much life still in this bed, and now this one is the only one that is alive. So we're going to leave this guy, but pull everything else. So last year I had a netting on this. This was supposed to be all Snapdragon bed. I had a netting on it, and I think snaps do better with support, but didn't really do anything. So I think I might just kind of like independently stake the snaps as they get tall. Maybe just put a little bit of like stick or something to help support them. But for now, we're just going to get rid of it. Get rid of this netting. Oh, look, see, and then this one has a little bit of growth, but I'm pulling him out because he's waiting too long. Like, he's a little green, he's a little yellow, but... So they survived winter and then died, which baffles me. Okay. And then, so last year this bed had a butternut squash, snapdragons, and celosia. The celosia didn't do anything. The snapdragons looked nice. Celosia, not so much. So I'm really excited for this bed. I think this bed is going to look a lot nicer this year. And I think I'm going to like really kind of fill it with some really pretty flowers. So I'm really, really excited. And so then I left these plants in there all winter. So I left like the roots of the celosia in, and then of course the snapdragon roots were in there. So they started breaking down in the soil, which only helps to add nutrients to the soil. So that's one of my hacks too for like ending your garden year. Because in September, October, November, when I gotta put the garden to bed, I'm tired of the garden. So one of the things that I do is I do leave some stuff in the garden, and I'm like, I'm lazy right now. I'm hot. I'm tired. But this also works as a way to add nutrients to the garden. So because I have this one little snapdragon here, I think I'm gonna put these other snaps here with this one. I like having things clustered together. And because I'm putting so much into this bed, I think it's gonna look really pretty with all of these different things together. Let me put you there, you there. This one has two. You see, this one has two together. Separate. You have two. Yeah, these all have two together, so let's just separate them a little bit. And I'll put maybe the Lizzie. Oh, there's some ants. Oh my goodness. I pulled up something that disturbed some ants. Let's just flip them out. Oh my. Well, I was gonna bring you down and show you, but I don't think anyone wants to see thousands and thousands of ants. So, I can't really plant in that. I need to do some sort of pest control. Hmm. Okay. Massive ant hill, hole, whatever you call it over there. I'm gonna leave that alone for now. They're just small black ants, like sugar ants, I think. And I feel like I'm crawling with them. I need to figure out how to get rid of them. For the most part, I typically just like disturb their nest or their home, and they go away on their own. So I've dug through that hole extensively. There are thousands of them, and I really do feel like I'm crawling with ants. So I dug through that extensively. So we'll see if that kills them. So for now, we're just get these snapdragons over here, and then we might move to the other bed because it's just swarming with ants. Quite gross. Quite gross. Okay. And what looks to be, there's a ton of ants, and then what looks to be roly-poly larva. I think it's roly-poly larva. Definitely some sort of larva. Okay. You guys stay over there. I don't want you. We don't want you. Okay. So I'll put the snaps here. And I'll put the Lisianthus you over there too. Yeah. Let's just move all of this stuff that bed. Oh, I have more snaps. And then we'll figure out later what we put in this bed. I don't know what I'll do, but we'll figure that out later. Okay. Okay, I think over here we're going to start with the straw flower. The straw flower I think is going to take up a good amount of space. I did come poke around over here and I didn't see any ants so far. So hopefully that stays the case. I'm going to start with our rose straw flower here and I'll put it here on the end of this bed. We'll kind of do rose. So I think I'll do like this section with rose, that section with the champagne or the cranberry, and then something else at the other end. I'm definitely going to have extra left over. I don't know how far to place these, so we're just gonna wing it. Now the sun is coming out and it's getting warm. Phew-wee. It is getting humid. It has gotten hot and I have gotten dirty. So for something I didn't really even want to do, I am done. I'm very dirty, so now I'm gonna go get a shower and it's officially dinner time. So I have fulfilled my I don't know how to relax requirement of the day. But we got this bed planted. I have 3 rows of the rose straw flower and 2 rows of the cranberry straw flower. I've used all the cranberry straw flower that I had, which was great. So that evened out perfectly. And then I did my 6 gumfrena behind it. And then right at the end, I have the Fallen in Love poppy. So this is a nice filled out bed and I think it's going to be really pretty. So I'm really excited to see how this looks when it starts growing. I think it's going to be really, really pretty. And that I have the snaps on the end, on the side and on the end here, I put my red poppies. I only had 4 total. 2 look dead, and 2 look okay. So we'll see if those 2 live, and if I have 4 or if I only just have 2. So we'll see. I do want to put my 2 Lisianthus on the end of that bed, but it's swarming with ants. I did find a little ant hole in this bed, not as bad as the other bed. So that one, typically, if I just like disturb it, then they leave. My hope is that I don't have to add anything to these beds, that they'll leave. We'll see. I need to fertilize these beds. We're not going to do that right now. We'll do that later once I get everything planted. But for now, I'm just going to call this a day. Let those ants disperse. And then we'll come back. We'll put the 2 Lisianthus there. I have some more poppies. I don't know that I'm going to put in here. I think the other poppies that my friend gave me, because I don't know how big they get, I think I'm going to put in the patio garden. So I have a little area here where I could fill in with something else. So I don't know what I don't know what I want that something else to be yet. So I think that means we need to go to a nursery and walk around and see what we find. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm filthy. It's officially shower and dinner time, and that sounds good to me. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.